Q&A at the end. Some of you have been to the public forums, and so really it is a conversation between the city and you, and that's why we took the questions early, and we'll take the questions often, or the comments, because we take those questions and comments and we try to put them into perspective as to how can we serve you better. And that's the whole key of this thing. When I first got here 2.5 years ago, the mayor and the city council wanted to do more outreach. Because you know how, and some of this is even the adult-centered feed conversation, is that when it's surprising, it makes an issue. And so there's not enough common communication back and forth on all of this as to how we manage these processes and everything. And so really, I want to take some of that mystique off, and I want to make sure that you understand who's behind the scenes, who's all doing the jobs that are out there, and we really want to hear from you. And so I know some of you have taken it up to contact city councilors and the mayor. We appreciate that as well too. They love to hear from everybody, good or bad. And so that's really nice. And we have some city councilors in the room and the mayor. So as we walk through tonight, they're going to get to hear from you as well as staff's responses on this as well too. So the forum tonight is, again, it's questions and comments. We'll have some presentations by the directors, and then of course, we have a one-on-one with the departments. If you notice the tables around the room, each one of the tables, they'll be manned, and so after we're done talking as a group, you're welcome to go over to the tables, learn a little bit more about the service we're providing, and just check in on that. I believe we have the museum over on this side. We have the library in the back corner there. We have the zoo here, and they brought a friend with them. And then of course Recreation up here in the front. So we'll get underway, and we want to hear from you. So really quickly, for those of you that don't understand our public forum process, again, it is outreach. You can see we have there's 9 events up here. We're doing one open forum in each one of the wards, so we try to break it up and we try to move around in the city. And then we've been doing the topical ones, which tonight is enrichment services. We've already covered an operations and infrastructure one, and we did public safety early in the year. And that was to talk about police, fire, and all those things that are public safety related. October is going to be a very fun one, that's city finances. So that'll be a nice one if you want to learn about how the government moves its money and how it all works. It's not the same as a checkbook, the house checkbook. We have similarities to business, but we're not really a business. We have social aspects, but we're not social. So I think all those pieces kind of come into this whole thing. So, but there's our schedule up there. If we haven't been in your ward yet, we are coming. And so, but this is our attempt at outreach. I wanted to address a little bit because one of the things we struggle with a lot is how to outreach. It used to be that the newspaper was the best form of notice to everybody, and so that you would be aware of what is happening in the city. The newspaper does a great job in reporting the stories and everything, but they only have so much room in their paper as well too. And so that's one source. Again, phone number, that's the number to City Hall that reaches into my office, and you can get from my office into every department out there. My email address is up there. Email works very well. If I can't answer the question, I know who can, and I will direct the question or the comment accordingly. That I mentioned the newspaper, the city councilors, all of their emails and cell phone numbers are posted on the website. So if you can get out there to do that, you can contact them directly. And they do a very nice job of calling back or emailing back. And so that's really good. Our websites, Roswell, New Mexico, roswell-nm.gov, croswell.com. We have information out there on that website. One of the things that I don't see a copy of it here, but it's the Fix-It form. And on the website, the Fix-It form, if you have a question or complaint, everything from a sign down, a street light, okay, they were handing it out. So a street light out, a code enforcement issue. If you have trouble with a neighbor that abandoned vehicles, grass and everything, that Fix-It form works for everything. Thanks, you, Talia. I'll have her walk around the room with that. No, okay. And so the fix-it form is our way of just trying to communicate as well. You can put a work order in at 2 a.m. in the morning, and it will get to the appropriate people. It gives us a tracking source, because in the past, when you phone call somebody and you get them on the phone for a work order or any issue that's there, they may not remember it by the time they jot it down on the paper. So this gives us a tracking so that we never lose sight of that. And I think one of the Post-it notes over there is talking about fixing up the buildings and maintaining the buildings. It works well for that as well too. We just need to make sure that we have identification of that, and that can get to the right people. Social media is the growing area. As our population, the young ones come up and they get active with their families and everything, social media is a resource. I know that when we lost power, we still had Facebook, so we were able to reach everybody by cell phone. And so those are the methods that we're trying to outreach with that. We actually have a couple. You can get on 311 questions. You can put your cell phone number on there and be contacted when certain things happen. I think Tom says I'm done speaking. No. All right.
Yeah, I'll just keep going like this.
And so we have all these different methods up there, and we always try to reach out a little bit more. I suspect at some point in time we'll all get those chips implanted behind our ear. Yeah, and then we'll just contact everybody individually, right? Now, hopefully that's a long way away, but those are the outreach methods. Tonight, I'm going to introduce you to some of our professionals. These are our directors for each one of these departments, and we're going to walk all the way down through their presentations, and then we'll pull out the board, we'll take questions from the floor, and we're going to walk through all of that information. So tonight we have Enid Costley, our library director. She's going to speak on the library. Carolyn Brooks, our museum director, on the museum. Jim Burris, our parks director. He's going to speak on cemetery, the parks, the zoo, and golf. And then we have a recreation services, Marcus Gallegos, recreation director. He'll handle the recreation center and aquatic center, the adult center, and then of course he's responsible for the sports fields relationships as well too. So that's how we've kind of broken up the list there. But I'll stop talking here, and I'm going to invite them up to cover their piece, and so they can kind of learn a little bit more about the city, what we're currently doing today, and hopefully it'll be enjoyable, and we'll get to all those questions. So. Without any other introduction, here's Enid to speak on the library.
So thank you. My name is Enid Costley, and I'm the library director at the Roswell Public Library. Here you go. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, I will try to face forward and do this. The author Simon Sinek, in his book Start With Why, writes about the golden circle. I can do it this way. So a lot of times we talk about what we do, less time we talk about how we do things, and even less time we talk about why we do things. And he said we should start with why. So in that spirit, I would like to share with you one reason why libraries are important. Okay, it's not about the iceberg. It's about what the iceberg represents. And that is all the learning that takes place over your lifetime. That top part that's above the water is about 20 to 30, maybe 35% of learning that takes place in a formal setting. Colleges, school classrooms, it's a formal setting. That other part, that part underneath the water, that is all the learning that takes place in informal settings. Now the definition for informal settings is very good. It's not formal settings. So, informal learning tends to be hands-on, like a makerspace in the library. or meeting a firefighter and getting an emergency plan and touching a truck. It tends to be social. It tends to be at a point of learning, hands-on. How do I print that recipe? How do I get hold of my children during Facebook? How do I apply for a job? It's sometimes very personal and one-on-one. But informal learning is best if it's fun. So what does informal learning have to do with libraries? Let me check my notes. Okay, thank you. Like museums, parks, recreation, aquatic centers, zoos, the libraries deal with informal learning. So this is my dream. That people are intrigued by the workings of a truck, and then they read a book and earn a badge. That they ride fast, and they learn about air pressure and Newton's law, and they read a book and earn a badge. They go to the splash pad, and they look at water tension, and then they read a book and earn a badge. They go to the cemetery, they learn a little bit about their history, and then they read a book and earn a badge. They wiggle as they giggle, and then they read a book and earn a badge. They get a different perspective, and then they read a book and earn a badge. They have a good, long stretch, and then they earn a badge. They take a ride on a train. They learn about the animals that are around us. They wonder about some things, and then they earn a badge. They go outside and they look at things that are a little bit lighter than air and wonder, how does that happen? And then they read a book and earn a badge. They take flight and they learn about Bolivian's principles. And then they read a book and earn a badge. But mostly, they have some drama. And then they read a book and earn a badge. But mostly what I'd like to see happening in Roswell is you go outside and you are in awe and you dream big and you read a book and earn a badge. Thank you.
Good evening, thanks for being here. I'm Caroline Brooks, the museum director. And I was going to start out with a few numbers for you in case you're interested. In 2018, we presented 29 events, 14 exhibitions, and 34 classes for 38,608 visitors. We currently have 3,777 Facebook followers, and we love our friends. We're always happy to add more if you're interested. We have been accredited by the American Alliance of Museums since 1976. And what that means is periodically we're evaluated by a national group, and that since then have been deemed to uphold the highest museum standards. And just to give you some perspective, there's about 35,000 museums across the US, and 4,500 are accredited. So we're really proud to be among that group of excellence. We present approximately 12 to 15 exhibitions per year. 5 or 6 are with the Roswell Artists in Residence program. 5 or 6 are from our permanent collection holdings. And then 2 or 3 we tend to borrow items from other places, so directly from artists or from other institutions. And just a few upcoming shows that we have, or current ones. Alien Forms is on view right now, and that's some of the more unusual works from our collection you might be interested in seeing. Virtue of Ownership is something that we borrowed. So we borrowed it from the African American Museum and Cultural Center in Albuquerque. And it is about the African American homesteading experience in the early 1900s in New Mexico. And so Blackton being one of those locations. And then on September 20th, we have a Roswell Artist in Residence exhibition opening with Erica Bailey. And her work is really interesting. She creates dioramas, so those kind of like miniature museum displays that you see, and integrated with video installations. And this body of work that she's producing right now for the show looks at humanity's past and future. So again, it's going to be a very interesting show. And if you haven't been before, during the openings, we have a lecture for about 30 minutes from the artist before the reception, so it's a lot of fun. We host approximately 4,000 kids for museum tours and planetarium shows every year. And this goes back to what Enid was saying about informal learning settings. This definitely being one of them. That's really important what the kids learn in schools, but it's reinforced also by those experiences at other locations like the library and museum. And the Robert Goddard Planetarium, hopefully all of you have been. We're celebrating our 50th year this year. So we've been open since 1969 with the planetarium. And you might be familiar that in 2017, we underwent a major renovation, and we replaced the 26 Kodak slide projectors that projected on the dome with a high-end, state-of-the-art digital theater. So since we reopened at the end of 2017, we've been entertaining and educating about 10,000 people per year, and we hope that number continues to increase. Since we opened in 1937, we've always offered some sort of classes. Most of them being art. There's a few that are connected with the planetarium, like our space camp that happens during the summer. But the media that we explore, it's for ages 4 up through adult, all levels. We do printmaking, painting, drawing, and of course a lot of you are familiar with our ceramics classes taught by Area Finch. And scholarships are available. They're need-based, and they're funded by our foundation. So if anyone needs those are always good to have. And we revamped a lot of our programming over the last 2 to 3 years, and one of those being Party After Hours. So this is geared towards adults, ages 21 and over, and like the name implies, it's a fun kind of party atmosphere with a little bit of subversive education in there. We usually have a cash bar, food, music, and we connect it back with our exhibitions in some way. So there'll be like gallery games, hands-on art experiences. We have one coming up on August 23rd, which is next Friday at 6 o'clock, and it's inspired by an upcoming exhibition. It's called Decades, the 1930s and 40s, which is works from our permanent collection from the 1930s and 40s. And so the theme of that night's event is Swing into the 40s. So we'll have a little swing dance instruction, followed by some music, and I think a really good time. We recently added Family After Hours, so it's our family version. And we developed that in partnership with the school district, the elementary art teachers with the Arts Connect program. They have come in, we've only done one so far, this will be our second one that's happening on August 29th. But they come and they're inspired by some of the works that are on display, some of the exhibitions that we have. And they develop visual art and performing art activities for kids. We held our first one in May. We had almost 600 people there over the course of 3 hours. Very, very well attended, really fun night. And so we're excited to be doing it again on August 29th. And then you might be familiar, we held our first Roswell Science and Art Festival last October. And we used to do the art block party. This is the art block party with some STEM incorporated into it. So for our first one, we partnered with 26 different organizations and groups from across the state to present arts and science initiatives, activities. So those were demonstration, hands-on activities. We did lectures. We also did, we had a headliner. This was Kate the chemist. She's a professor at the University of Texas in Austin. And so she came out and gave a wonderful stage presentation to about 500 people at the festival at that time. And very hands-on, interactive for all the little kids who volunteered. But another part of the festival is pre-festival outreach. So last year, we went into the middle schools, worked with 281 middle school students and 75 teams to instruct them and to challenge them to build Rube Goldberg machines, which if you don't know what that is, it's kind of like the game Mousetrap, where one action leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. And so they build their own machines. At the same time, they learn to understand engineering techniques and how simple machines work. This year, we're challenging them to build Mars colonies. So that'll be a real fun project. Just wanted to give a shout out to our foundation. They help to supplement our funding and to be able to do extra programming. So they help with the family after hours, the party after hours, the festival, when we did the 2017 planetarium renovation, the addition of the whole art center wing. So they're really a supportive group, which is a separate nonprofit from the museum. And they do fundraisers every year to help support the initiatives that they help us with. And so that's what the picture is from. They've been doing the last 2-3 years now a murder mystery, and so that's Neverland Theater Company characters. As well on the far left is Aubrey Hobart, our curator of collections at the museum, who helped out that night. She likes to do theater things too. And so looking ahead, we've been around, 82 years. We're 82 years young. And with that, there's some updates that we need to do at the museum, so we're always kind of looking forward to our next project. And something on the horizon is we'd like to do a renovation to update our lobby, make it a little bit more welcoming. We'd like to add a hands-on family gallery where our museum store currently is located in the back of the museum. And it'd be self-led activities, possibly with digital interactives, engineering things, concepts and art concepts and science concepts that connect back to our exhibitions in some way, but to make it a fun, kind of intuitive, hands-on experience for when families come to visit. And then we would move the museum store to the front of the museum and make it more accessible. So again, that's kind of on the horizon. Not a single dollar has been raised yet. And by the way, these drawings are just drawings. So we worked with an architect, we came up with some concepts, put some things down on paper. But if and when we move forward on this project, we do want community input on it. And so we'll probably have a similar kind of community forum such as this to gather ideas. Also our Goddard exhibition, which we all dearly love. The earliest part of it is from 1959. So it is a bit dated, and although some elements we truly like, and we like that kind of immersive kind of workshop experience, there's a lot of conservation that needs to be done. Some of these items are 90+ years old, and there's also more contemporary storytelling techniques. So we would love to reinterpret this exhibition in the coming years, and definitely keep some of the most beneficial parts of it, but add to it. And one of those things we'd love to add is the story of Esther Goddard and how she supported her husband, because that's a story that really hasn't been told. And then collection storage. So you might be familiar that most museums only exhibit like between 5 and maybe 20% of what they actually have in their holdings. And there's a few reasons for that. One, they only have so much space. So when you put on a display versus storing something, it takes more room to put on that display. 2, you want to kind of freshen up the experience every time someone comes, so you want to change out the objects that you display. And then 3, you need to rest your objects periodically. It sounds like kind of a human emotion, but the objects get tired too. We put them in the public trust when we have them in our holdings. And that means that legally we're responsible for them for hopefully at least 200 years. And so we want them to last as long as possible. So what we mean by resting an object is that we take it off display so that it's not exposed to as much light over time, so periodically resting them, like the George O'Keeffe, which is so important to our collection. So we are a collecting institution. We have about 8,500 objects in our holdings, but we're kind of starting to run out of space. And so looking ahead, we're planning and hopefully we'll be adding some storage sometime in the future. And what that could possibly look like would be visible storage. I know the image is a little hard to see, but what you're looking at is some museums employ this idea of visible storage such that items are displayed, so they're all compact, like on racks or shelves, but that they are also on view for the public at the same time. So it kind of provides this educational experience where there might be a computer kiosk, you can scroll through, find out more information about the objects that you see a part of. At the same time, they're compactly stored as they need to. And just mentioning light exposure, in this particular image, all the lights are on, but in a lot of situations, the lights are off or very dim, and so when somebody walks in, that's when the lights go up. But that's something, again, kind of on the horizon. And that's all I have for you this evening, so thank you.
Hi everybody, it's my turn. How we doing? Before I get started, I want to say something about my cruise. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff that we do outside and we maintain. They're out there when it's 103 or it's below 0. And I just want to say right now before I start, I'm very, very proud of everyone that takes care of your city. So here we go. Jim Burris, Director of Parks, here's my phone number there. You can find me through City Hall also. I'm going to start with parks. There's some playground equipment over in Cielo Grande. We do install all that, but here's one of my guys here. He's using a back trailer to dig. He's got to find his irrigation valves. Bless his heart. I have a staff of 20. We work 26 parks. That equates to 685 acres. So every week, we mow and weed whack 685 acres in the Parks Department. We fix the valves. We fix the irrigation. We trim trees. So Roswell has more green space per capita than most big cities. So you should be proud. Green space per capita in the desert. So it's pretty neat, huh? I ride around 29 miles of walking trails. Some are prescription trails. So there's a book over there on the table. So your doctor can pick out a trail for you. So you got to walk that trail 3 times a week. Okay, so we want to get people out. We get you out of the house, right? We have prescription trails, suggested routes from healthcare professionals. So we work with the county, the health department, that's where these books come from, to increase walking and wheelchair rolling, targeting and promoting healthy lifestyles for families. We want everybody to get out and enjoy themselves and get some air. Okay? Roswell was named a tree city in 1990. Thank you, counselors. There's some of you here tonight. Making it the oldest tree city in the state of New Mexico, 29 years. So 29 years, tree city, all right? So if you see us remove a tree, we've already studied that tree. We've talked to it, we've looked at it, we've looked at the weight, the disease, if it's hollow, right? If we actually have to take it down. If we take the tree down, we're going to plant 3 to 5 new ones. Okay, 3 to 5 to replace the one I take down. You live in the desert. Some, we may lose them, right? Also, we give away between 1,000 and 2,000 trees a year. I don't know if you knew that, Arbor Day, and we deal with the schools, right? When they take everybody over to Civic Center and teach them, we give all the kids a little tree take home. Remember when you were young, with a paper towel, wet paper towel, right? Take the tree home. We only ask when you plant a tree, look up. If there's wires, put somewhere else. This is a list of the parks. We'll have some more data over there. Essentially, there should be a park pretty much within walking distance of where you live. That's where we get the per capita, the green space. And I'm hoping there's a trail to get there. But this is some data people don't know. The history of the Parks Department. In 1897, the Board of Trustees passed an ordinance which provided the financial avenue to finance and purchase the development of parks. On May 28, 1897, by passing ordinance number 71, that's been a while, right? Ordinance number 71, the method for financing city parks. From this period to the 1950s, several pieces of land were added to parks inventory. From 1950 to 65, there was considerable growth and development in the city's population grew. From 65 to 92, there was an expansion of additional activities and facilities. Demand for adult recreation began to surface as we had an influx of retirees. We got a lot of really nice parks. And I'm hoping that you're going out and taking a look. Please take ownership of the park in your neighborhood. Keep an eye on it. Let me know what you need. Holler if you see a problem. Okay? Day to day, you see the guys are striping the tennis courts. We're painting things pretty, right? Putting in new backstops. So these guys have to know how to do everything. Am I pacing too much again? Or see that? He put me in a short leash. I don't know if you saw that. Here, Jim. So the guys that have to know how to put in backstop, pour concrete, sidewalks, run a backhoe, dump truck. So very proud of them. They work very hard. All right. What's up next? Looking forward. Continue planting trees. Obviously, we like trees. Because if I can make shade, it cools the temperature. Then I can grow grass. Get those trees going. It helps me out, right? Expansion of playgrounds and installation. Obviously, as a parks guy, I want more playgrounds. So as things change, needs change, and they have all this new fancy stuff, other than metal slides, we want to install new things, right? Okay. So that's the Parks Department. And I had reviewed some of the questions here, and I'll take care of it. South Park Cemetery. Okay, well, it's outside. And we talked about how we take care of people here in Roswell. We all lose a loved one every once in a while. Our job is to make it look nice and to treat you with respect. That's what we do. The guys at the cemetery also work very hard, and they're there for you. We're going to treat you with respect. We're going to take care of your families. Okay? So you know there's over 30,000 headstones out there they weed whack every week. They have a staff of 10 people going to help you out, get in and out of the property, make sure you're in the right spot, make sure you have some shade, and treat you with respect. That's from the office, from beginning to end. They work 120 acres every week, besides their job of interning people. South Park is 22 acres at the Veterans Cemetery. Okay? On average, there are 2 to 3 funerals a day, close to 400 a year. So besides taking care of the property, we're taking care of that many families. Okay? They have a huge job, right? Veterans Cemetery offers 3 different ways of burying. That's you have a casket, columbarium cremations, and an in-ground cremations. So that's how we put people to rest. South Park Cemetery has been in existence for 129 years. They lay out initially, I don't know if you've been out there, started out as a flower. It's kind of cool. If you've been out there, some books over here, I'll show you. All right? The flower shape, and it was called the Southside Cemetery. Okay? To learn more about its history, visit the office for a historical guide on the property, or head over to the table. There's actually a walking guide. There's a lot of history out there. It's kind of neat. The Veterans Cemetery was started in 2014. Duties can vary from day to day. General upkeep, special projects, and maintenance are the major components of work for the cemetery. There's also funeral preparations, and that vary from day to day. So they got a lot on their plate. So remember I started with how proud I am of the employees and how they take care of business? There you go. Something we're looking at in the future, since we take care of a lot of property and there are a lot of headstones to clean up every week, to engineer out some of the problems, we're looking at putting in columbariums. Okay? That reduces some of the water usage and trees and things like that. It'd be a very nice, quiet, peaceful place to reflect, and a little easier on the water bill. Next up is the golf course. This has been fun. Beautiful picture of the golf course. Some of the things we're looking at in the future, we're going to be doing some events out there. Okay, here we go again. People out in the heat working, take care of business. You know the biology for a putting green is about like that. It doesn't take much to mess up a putting green. You know that, don't you? So always poking holes in them, putting sand, right? Fertilizer, water. David Blood, he's a superintendent out there. If you go out there real early in the morning, you'll see him talking to things. Oh, I'm not sure what kind of grass that is. And he looks and he talks and he walks around the property. So anyhow, he has a staff of 7. They work 144 acres. There are 3 water hazards on 18 holes, which everybody loves, right? They love the fountains, the water, and some people even feed the ducks and the geese. I don't know how that happens, but I know when I'm out there, the geese chase me, so thank you for feeding them. Okay. On average, there are 23,000 rounds of golf played every year. And so you know, if you're playing around, the kids go for free. Okay? Now to the history. This is neat. The WPA built the old clubhouse next to the tennis courts. You go by, there's a big stone building, 1936. In 1964, holes 1 and 9 kind of went down through there. We passed each other. Okay? Were moved and a new clubhouse was built at the time. The course was only 9 holes. Today, the course is named after a local Roswell resident who went pro, Nancy Lopez. You get this. She won the New Mexico Open at age 12. She actually put the ladies LPG on the world map, didn't she? There are 18 holes of premium golf now. Got new golf carts and a liquor license. So we go out there and have fun and play golf. Duties can vary from day to day. General upkeep, special projects, and maintenance are the major responsibilities of the golf course. So David's either looking at the grass or sharpening the blades on that mower right there. Offering events in the future outside of playing golf. We're looking at nighttime events because it's hot, right? So maybe we go out this beautiful property. Maybe we go out there and have a picnic and look at the stars. What do you think? Or maybe we'll do some events and venues offered up to the public. Good use of that property. Okay, Here we go, last one, the zoo. Guess what? On my way here today, there was a gentleman that helped us come up with the master plan. He came to town today. You don't know this, Marge. He came to town. They called me, he said, Jim. So what? You've been fixing up that property, I can really tell. I saw it's green, I saw all the stuff you've done. I saw the fence, the wagon wheels, the covers, and he was very excited that he saw that we were taking care of business. So thank you, Mark. And that was an unsolicited phone call. All right, I broke it already. All right, zoo overview, staff of 10, average of public outreach per month in January was 398. 59 kinds of species and 184 specimens, okay? That's a lot of mouths to feed. You got a fishing pond across the way, stocked once a month by the Department of Game and Fish. Zoo history. The zoo was first established in 1932 at Cahoon Park. Remember the golf course? When a bear was donated from an out-of-business circus. I bet that was fun, right? In 1966, relocated to its current location. The pond was initially a dog leg in the river. Remember, they straightened it out, and that's how you got your fish pond, right? Okay, it was converted to a pond in 1965. Today, the Spring River Zoo was conducting construction as part of a new master plan, which that guy just told us, passed by the city of Roswell in 2017. Phase 1 of the new master plan includes a mountain lion exhibit or a big cat exhibit. We're like this close. This close. You guys, if you haven't been to the zoo for a while, you need to go on out. Okay? It's really nice. It's changed. And we're going to spruce it up a tad. Okay? And we're going to start with this exhibit right here so we move the animals around. It's beautiful, by the way. You come out sometime, we'll show you. Day-to-day duties can vary. Obviously, you saw that in all the slides. We never know what we're going to get when we go to work. General upkeep, care, and maintenance, animals assisting visitors, and facilitating events and programs. We love to talk to people, obviously. You can tell. I love to talk to people. Quit laughing. All right, these are all the programs. I'm not going to read them, but you have a copy, right? So we're doing all kinds of new things. We had the Bruton Zoo. Everybody liked that. It was cool. Right? All right, looking forward. Installation of new exhibits. You can see some of the stuff I was talking about. Installation of new exhibits, increasing plants, upgrading fencing, new benches, trash cans, shade covers, special events, right? We got an outreach person coming in 2 weeks.
Next Friday.
Next Friday. They're going to help with the kids and the retirement homes and go wherever they need to go, right? You can take the animals, like a snake over there. They're bringing a snake right to you. I'll tell you all about it, okay? We're going to work on education and STEM or STEAM. STEM, add art to it. It's STEAM, right? We're going to do art. We're going to have the animals paint. How about that? Okay? No, really. We're going to have the animals paint. Hosting kids' birthday parties. Over there is a list of what it costs to run a birthday party. We just started. I'm going to kick out a wall and put in some tables, a little kitchen, and you come out and have a birthday party. They'll bring a snake or porcupine or something in there for the kids, right? Then you go ride the train, get a snow cone, and play with the carousel. All right, where are we at? I broke it again. I'm done. So, how'd I do? Good? All right. I love my job, right? I get the good stuff. I get the good stuff. So let's go outside, let's play, let's have a great time. If you need something, you come and find me, okay? There you go, Marcus.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah, you're all happy he's done there? I love him. Good evening, everybody. My name is Marcus Gallegos. I'm the new Recreation Director for the City of Roswell. Just a little bit on a personal note, I'm really happy and excited to be here since my family and I have been here. We've been welcomed, very, very welcomed by all the different people I've met and interacted with, and you guys are the nicest people I've ever met. So thank you from me and my family. So getting started, name, address, email address, phone number. So who are we? Obviously, I already said who I am. We have Lori Dudek, our Recreation Superintendent. She's here. Damian Cheatham, he's our Recreation Supervisor. He's also here. They've both been here with the city for over 20 years, a lot of experience, and really, really helping me out and pointing me in good directions. April Hunter is our project desk coordinator. Lisa Rosales is our administrative assistant. Vicky Stringer and Lynn Sanchez are our office assistants. And then we get down to our rec leaders, Charlie Ward, Daniel Franco, Tom Blake, and Mick Reeves, who just came on recently. You all know Floyd Bell, he's our recreational aide. And Jericho Morales and Thomas Plummer are recently hired recreational aide twos. So we'll start with the Roswell Adult Center. It's a multi-generational, multi-use facility that has served the people of Roswell for the past almost 4 years. The Roswell Adult Center offers programs for all ages that include aerobics, cardio.
40 years.
No, I'm saying our primary, because primary center the last 4 years. We had 2 centers at one point, correct? Yes. So I'm just talking the last 4 years. It's been our primary one. Yeah, so don't get that confused. Billiards, lapidary, art class, and many other fun and exciting programs. That was one of the art. That's the father-daughter dance right here in this room. Our brand new Roswell Recreation Aquatic Center just opened June 29th. Great facility, brand new multi-use facility that features an indoor and outdoor pool. We have slides, all kinds of good stuff for the kids. A large gymnasium that can handle up to 4 games at one time. A group exercise room that features Fitness Direct, where we can access up to 1,800 different types of classes, all virtual. It could be yoga, it could be Zumba, it could be all kinds of different things, from kid bop dance to adult, senior fit classes, whole bunch of different things we can choose from. So we have that schedule up. And we can hold we have a couple of classrooms, we could do meetings in there, rentals for parties, those type of things. And also, we're gonna hold several programs. We're gonna have a volleyball, basketball league, soccer league, exercise classes, our vacation club, and now we're offering morning walking in the morning. You can walk around the basketball court, 13 laps equal 1 mile. Yeah, we have it all figured out for you. So if you don't want to walk out in the heat, come on over and walk in there. It's a great place, air conditioning, water available, that sort of stuff. So a lot of people are already doing it. We hold several events throughout the year. One is we do runs and marathons. We have a marathon coming up August 31st, our Turtle Marathon. We'll be running from the Armory around for a marathon in there. We have our father-daughter dance, very, very popular. It's growing every year, and the people love it. Mother-son kickball tournament that's growing every year as well. It's gotten bigger, and then we host summer camps for kids. United Pool Management is responsible for running the day-to-day operations of the pool. Jessica Walker over here, raise your hand, Jessica. She's the aquatics director. She runs the pool side. They're in charge of everything on the pool side, from the pool maintenance, day-to-day operations, the lifeguards, everything that goes along with it, including the classes such as swim lessons and water aerobics. So they've been handling this for us, doing an excellent job, and it's going pretty good. Membership and fees. We have several different types of memberships, ranging from annual to seasonal. Everything can be found on RoswellConnect.com. First up is our Recreational Aquatic Center annual membership fees. I know it's a little hard to read, but we can also read this on RoswellConnect.com. Ages 3 to 12 and seniors and veterans, $150 for the year. We have an adult rate for $250 per year, and a family up to 6 members in the family for $450 a year. And that gets you access to the Aquatic Center, the Recreation Center, and the Adult Center. We also offer the seasonal membership fees as well, ranging from $60 on the low end for the child and the seniors, $100 for adult, or $260 for a family. So pretty good stuff. We also have a daily entry fee. If you just want to come and try out for the day, see what it's like, see if you like it or not. Adults are $5, youth is $3, seniors are $3, and family up to 6, $13. And we have a ton of families really utilizing that $13 rate. So what's in the future? One of the things is we're going to revamp our vacation fund program. We're going to make it a little more interactive, more educational, and a lot more fun for the kids. We're going to offer new summer camps for the kids. We're going to redo our summer camps to do some different things that have never been done here before. We're going to do that in collaboration with a bunch of different people. New Mexico Game and Fish, New Roswell, New Mexico Department of Health, Boys and Girls Club, Roswell Independent Schools. There's a lot of resources in this town that if we've all put that together, we can really make a difference for the kids and for the people of Roswell. And so it's just a matter of bringing everybody together, and that's one of my goals here. We're also looking at maybe starting a bike rental program. That's in the works right now. We're looking at that possibility, as well as maybe an indoor soccer league, since we have the facility we can handle now. So we're always looking for new opportunities. If you have ideas, please contact me or any one of my staff. Throw the idea out there. I'm open to anything. So if you have ideas, you say, hey, I've said this for years, I think it's a good idea, please let me know. I'd like to know. So some important changes that are coming up. And I know you're all here for this, okay? It's the implementation of the city council approved fee schedule that was approved last July. We initially said we're going to do it September 1st in implementation of these fees. I've gotten a ton of feedback, talked to a lot of different people, and for that I'm going to recommend to General Services in a couple of weeks to delay that implementation so we have time to study it a little bit further, to get a little bit more in depth and really see, now that I've talked to people, I know the impact it's making. All right, so we are going to put that hold on it right now. But one thing we are going to do is enforce the independent contractor insurance requirement. Any instructor that comes into our building is going to have their insurance now. That is industry-wide. That's standard practice anywhere you go. So that's something that we're going to enforce, and we're going to make sure that happens. And it's just for the safety and liability that the city does not have to put on, and make sure nobody gets hurt, those kind of things. These were the fees that we're going to go effective September 1st, but like I said, we are delaying those until we figure out what it really impacts and have more time to study on that, okay? And now it's time for questions.
Look out, Mark.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marcus. Okay, yeah, thank you for your patience to walk through this. You can kind of tell why these are our enrichment programs or our services. This is the icing on the cake. You know, we have a lot of different things out there that we have to do for the city, maintain the streets, public safety, all of that kind of rolls together, and we don't want to lose sight of this quality of life stuff as well. And the challenge we have with it is that in the general fund, the money that goes to our parks and recreation also compete with the dollars that are coming for public safety or the streets. A lot of our services, there's about 24 to 26 services that come out of the general fund, which is paid for by property tax. 24% of those costs are property tax. There's about 42 to 48%, depending on what we're spending it on and what we're trying to do for the year. It comes out of the gross receipts tax, the sales tax. And so those are the two biggest funding sources that we have in the general fund. And so when the economy slows down, then we need to slow down the spending because we don't have those dollars coming in. And I think that's the challenge that the City Council has all the time as to how do you slow down, how do you make this all fit. And so that's the conversation. I will tell you that if the City Council could give everything away for free, they would. We've had those conversations trying to figure out exactly how to fund everything. But it all kind of lumps together. And again, what we do is we do try to tackle this as a community rather than separate pieces. Our job here, all the staff that you've met tonight, are here to serve. And that's what I believe in. That's what they believe in. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to get into the questions on the board, and we'll try to walk through them. I believe Bill Morris is going to help me do Vanna White, and try to read off the questions for me. I tried to get him to dress up a little bit different, and so we'll go through the questions, and then we'll give you the best answer that we can tonight. If we do find the questions that we can't answer, and that's part of the reason for the sign up, is that we will go back and we will discover what that answer is. if it's a city council decision that has to be made, they'll be aware of this as well too. So, and then we'll take questions from the floor. Once we get through at the board, if we still have time and it's not morning yet, we'll go into any, as long as you want to cover questions. So, kind of nice to be inside in the air conditioning, Jim. So, all right, Bill, where are we going?
Well, are we done with questions? Everybody else?
Everybody got their initial questions in?
Okay.
Yeah, and Carolyn's walking around and she'll pick them up if you have them. You don't have to walk them all up, so.
All right, we'll start with this. The new fees at the Recreation Center, we just discussed that.
All right, the new fees at the Recreation Center, yeah, I think Marcus covered that. We do know that we want to talk about them a little bit farther. Part of the challenge we have with that, and I'll go through it just a little bit farther, we did a cost recovery plan in May of 2018. This cost recovery plan says that for most recreational services, the city will cover 60% of that expense, and then 40% will be covered by the fees and costs, other monies. And so that was implemented in May, and I think that's what prompted the July fee schedule as well too, was to try to bring everything up to date. We had the new rec center coming on board, and so it all kind of jumbled all together. And I think that's where Marcus is talking about. We're going to have another conversation with General Services about the fees. We don't have to treat the facilities the same. We actually have different annual fees out there right now that are, if you have an aquatics membership, you can have a rec membership for less if it's through the aquatic center for both buildings. And so we're going to be fixing all of that. But yeah, so hopefully that helps answer that question with the fees. You know, I don't know what the right appropriate number is for a fee, but I know that we appreciate the help for that service that's provided, and so we try to balance that out. So, what's the next question, Bill?
Let's see. Lights at the Wool Bowl.
Lights at the Wolf Bowl Dog Park. Wolf Bowl, yep. That's the dog park right by the Wool Bowl, right? And
Can we take care of that one?
if you'd like.
Sure. We've already talked.
Yeah, we talked.
But yeah, there's a couple things we gotta take care of is the way the water runs.
Right.
We need some cement at the gate, because we keep moving the gate, we're just gonna put cement, all right? And we are exploring with the engineering bill, the cost of solar lights. Okay, to put that in perspective, you know, it's about $7,000 to wire one, about $5,000 for a solar light. So we're working on it. You know, we hit the middle there somewhere. We talked to Bill, we can put the concrete.
You know, and one thing that we probably should look at with that as well too is how long should the lights actually operate? You know, because I don't know if we should be out walking dogs at 10, 11 o'clock at night. I know that the facility will actually get utilized for things other than the dog park. So walking all the way through that conversation, I think would be good. So, Bill?
There are a large number of people that are food insecure. Are there plans to plant any public access pecan trees, fruit trees, etc.?
Okay, this is a question about planting public trees that are fruit trees, and there's a lot of cities out there that are actually doing that. They plant apple trees in their right-of-ways, and then the public come by and harvest them, and the pecans, and I don't know if we have any plans at all to do that. I believe we are looking at, as Jim stated with the Tree City, trying to, when we take a tree down, 3 to 5 get replaced. I think that the opportunity is there because we have to have the right species that'll grow in our climate as well too. We know pecans grow pretty good. Apples did. I mean, we were a big producer of apples for a long time. And so I think looking at those things and actually being able to do that would be a good thing. However, I don't think we've had a lot of conversation about those type of trees. I know we've been trying to stay away from the elm trees because of Dutch elm disease and ash. Yeah, so, okay.
Let's see. Trying to make this a country club, charge admission-free fees. Okay, that's a fee. Big pothole, abandoned car called previously at 2305.
Okay, this is something that the Fix-It form works very well with as well too. So this question was is that there's a big pothole at 2300 block of North Grand. There's an abandoned card, called previously, have not had a response. We can fix that. And we'll make sure that that gets at least responded to. If you want to be contacted back on these things, on the fix-it form, you can put your name or you can do it anonymously. And so no matter how we get the information, I got a letter today without a name on it, and that said, please go look at this house. And guess what? We did. You know, and so I think with all of this as well too is that make sure that we know that. And at times with the call previously, I don't know who you talked to, I don't know who got that call, but if it's not the right person, they may not take it seriously. And they'll say, oh, we'll take care of it, and they'll jot it down, but it may not get to the right people that can take care of this. Both of these issues, well, the pothole issue is handled out of the street department, and I'll guarantee you that they'll get their truck out there and fill those potholes. Actually, those potholes are actually my speed slows everybody down, the speed deterrent, right? Everybody talks about speeding in neighborhoods. Every time I fix a pothole, people speed faster, and so I like to just say that that's the way I slow people down. But the abandoned car is out of code enforcement. And if we know where it's at and everything, and we do have the address on there, I wasn't going to say the whole address, just in case you're in the room. You don't go, no. But we'll make sure that it gets taken care of.
Okay, where do you see the Roswell Adult Center 5 years from now?
Where do you see the Roswell Adult Center 5 years from now? You know, we asked that question. That question was actually asked by a few individuals at the last public forum, and they asked it a little differently. When are you going to close the adult center? All right. And you know, we see the adult center as a vital part of our mission for the quality of life for those enrichment services. I believe it'll continue to change. I believe it'll continue to try to meet those needs. You know, and I think when Marcus talked about the 4-year ago thing with the adult center, it was when we combined the Yuck Center into the adult center, and we had all those younger adults with the older adults, and now we've kind of got you guys separated again, right? But that doesn't mean that we won't hold programs over here as well. But I think the idea is to try to make sure that all these programs meet the needs of our community. And so I think always talking about that is very important, making sure that we know. I think with what Marcus said and his team over there, let us know. You know, one of the big things out there right now is pickleball. And it's a big deal, right? Deal pickle? All right, never mind. I thought that was good. All right, that didn't work. Big deal. All right, never mind. But so we're always looking at these new features in order to try to make sure our programs match. But so yeah, we see the Roswell Adult Center. There is no intent to other than maybe change out programs, whatever that need is with the community. We'll be doing a little bit of work. I know there's a couple of tabs up there about taking care of the building better, and we're working on that. I think that hopefully you can kind of see that. It's okay to build new things, but it's also important to maintain what you currently have. And so a lot of the stuff that the conversation we're having with City Council is to make sure that we take care of what we have and we can, add the new things when we get the chance to, and then try to keep things moving in that way.
Stained glass, and that's related to repairs to the building?
Repairs of the building, I talked a little bit about. I know we went through and did a 2016 after the storm. We actually did a big analysis on all the buildings because some of them, you know, the roofs collapsed during the blizzard, and so we did an assessment of those. There are millions of dollars of work that need to be done on our existing buildings, and trying to categorize all that and trying to assign the money to it has been challenging. And because there's only so many dollars to go around, and there's so much we can put to it. But I will tell you that if you look at all that work that has happened out at the zoo, they have done most of that work within their current budget. And so it became a true shift in what they were trying to do, where they focused on getting those things done. And I will say the Adult Center will do the same thing with. They'll identify what the issues are, and then we will start knocking them off. I think the frustrating thing that, and I talked with some individuals before the meeting, is that, you know, this was talked about 5 years ago, and it's still an issue in that area. And that's unacceptable, and we need to do better. So, yes, sir?
On this building here, the last year, it's got a new roof, new air conditioning, and a new gas.
Sure. So on this building, we did some of the big stuff. It's got a new roof, it's got new HVAC, and a new gas line. So, which is nice. It just doesn't. Yeah. You don't see it. What about the sewer?
Doesn't fix the ladies' room.
Okay.
Fix it for them.
Yep. We will get it taken care of. And what we are doing now, and actually this Fix It form helps a lot as well too, because once it's on that list, it doesn't come off. There's only two things that can get it off of there: me and getting it done, right? And so we walk through that process with that. We should be able to tell you how quickly we can get to it. Again, we will go for health and safety issues first, getting that health and safety matters first, and then we'll go into the cosmetic stuff as well too. Love to do it all at once, but I can't free up that checkbook enough to do that. So
We got a couple of questions. Pecos Valley Quilters rent.
And I'm assuming the quilters rent has something to do with the fee structure and the use for that. Yeah, okay, I get some nodding of the heads. And so, and we will walk through that and make sure that we enjoy having the quilters here. My mother-in-law is a quilter, and so it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it keeps me warm at night, right? So my wife's in there, so she'll take that home to the mother-in-law and make sure. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me go into that a little bit more. So her question is that what is happening with that fee structure and what is that process? So with what Mark has talked about. Now, these fees were passed in July 2018, and I will apologize for that, for not having them implemented. I had a staff member that said, let's wait till the rec center comes online and then we'll implement all of the fees. That is not proper because the resolution from the city council did not even state that we could delay it. The conversation with city council, we should have had this conversation a year ago is what I'm really saying. And that's I will take ownership of that because I'm responsible for all of our employees.
I think everybody at the RAC should have been notified that the fees were going to be implemented.
Sure.
They were not notified, and that's totally wrong.
And well, the nice thing about with the fee structure here, they didn't just turn on the fees now. They did post on there that they would be started on September 1st. So they did try to do that when they understood. I agree. I understand what you're saying. And that's where we have to have that conversation a little bit farther on how we do those fees. You know, the fees are decided on by a resolution of the city council. So either you can watch the paper, you can see the agendas and everything, but because it's really hard for us to tell you which ones to do. But I think staff can do a better job of notifying, at least posting, saying, "Hey, guess what? We're going to have." No, they didn't. They didn't. And but I think they can do a better job of at least making sure, because I think city council wants to hear from you. And again, I don't know what the most appropriate fee is for the building. I know what the criteria they are giving me for what we have to do for cost recovery or what we have to do for different things. But that's a whole decision process as to what the city council has to make on that. So.
We do have opportunities to get with the city council and verbalize some of the frustration we feel about this senior center for senior citizens
Right.
who are on limited incomes and need the social interaction, need the physical exercise, and the things that they're going to be penalized for. Will we have an opportunity to address throughout and write the letters to the city council so that they can see that we vehemently oppose this kind of, I mean, the senior citizen, you said, we want to see how we can serve you better. Well, to me, that is counterproductive, what these fees are.
Well, and I understand where your position is on that. Note that every service we provide, and I don't mean this in a bad way either, every service we provide, there's a cost that's associated with that service. And we're paying for it through property tax, sales tax, or miscellaneous fees, which are the fee structure and everything. Trying to balance those three things out is what we try to do. I will tell you that the City Council is aware of the impact on a fixed income senior as well. And I think that's what I'm trying to tell you, is that we need to have a better conversation on that. I don't know what the appropriate fee is. I don't know if it should be free. I don't know if it should be whatever that cost is. That's up to the City Council to determine. I can provide my recommendation on all different kinds of reasons, but I can't do it myself with that as well too, and staff shouldn't do it either.
May I make one more comment?
One more, and I got some hands up, so.
Okay. When I see the recreation, the lovely new recreation center in the hallway that you can park at 747 in, it makes me a little frustrated that these nickel and dime dollars, or nickel and dimes dollars, I should say, are coming in on the senior citizens back. That's all I have to say.
Sure. The hallway in the rec center being so wide is, I think we can park a plane in it. No, but note that part of the decision on doing that was to use that overflow area for different uses. And so there was some reasoning in that. Sir, you had your hand up back there.
We have an issue and a question about fees paid and repair of buildings. That's a capital outlay. That should be done with the bond issue, and not be paid with the fees.
Sure.
You don't have the rest of the aquatic center being paid for that.
Right.
So why should repairs on all of our buildings be paid right now?
Yeah, and I will say that that's not entirely what is happening, because we have operational dollars and we have capital dollars. I didn't get into that conversation as to how to break that up. Most of the capital dollars are paid, most of the capital improvements are being paid for by GRT tax, which is a sales tax. And so there is a conversation that goes through that. When the departments can wiggle some capital into their operational budget, they would. And so determining on how what those fees pay, whether it be the operational side or the capital side, just another example I will give you is at the zoo. There's an ongoing conversation of how do we pay for the zoo, and it's a free zoo, and but it costs us about $800,000 a year to operate, and that doesn't even include the new exhibits that are happening. The mountain lion exhibit, the big cat exhibit that's going in there is right now we have 40% of that cost as donations. And we've had a very good drive of those donations. And so the idea, I think, is it matches up to what you're trying to say, is that fees go to the operational costs, and it covers a certain portion of that. Capital can be covered by those other funds, or even the donations. I believe we have a Friends of the Adult Center group. Okay. And so we rely heavily upon the Friends of the Zoo. We rely heavily on the foundation board of the museum to help us drive more finances in order to get there. But I appreciate that, and I think that the counselors that are in the room heard you as well.
I have one more thing.
Yes.
I think anything we can do for the kids is absolutely fantastic. And I did watch an all presentation of the recreation center. 2 minutes. That's what all the rest. I have no questions about that. I think if this retirement, we need to have this a priority.
Yeah, and I appreciate that too, because if everybody heard him, what he was talking about is that a lot of the presentation for recreation was all youth driven, and what are we doing for the kids, and then we also have the senior class as well too, and the older kids, all right, and trying to make sure that those programs work out there, and it's. The intent of the city is to provide services for both ends of that spectrum, and we'll walk all the way through with that. I think, I think that we need to recognize this a little bit better, and then try to figure out exactly what programs should we be doing, because are the programs that we're currently providing even effective for what the seniors want? And, yeah, I got a hand up that's been a while, arm's tired.
My name is Bonnie, I know you can't hear me well. I was asked a couple times by people, if we increase fees, isn't that a tax increase?
It can be considered or not. I mean, a true tax, it comes in a statutory form. The city can only impact certain fee or taxes on their own. I will say that taxes are usually tied to your property or to the purchase of other goods. Even for your memberships, we have to pay sales tax on those memberships. And so if you pay a membership fee, we have to pay sales tax on that as well too. So it depends on your perspective as to whether or not a fee is another tax or if it covers the cost of the service provided. And
I've been here for over 20 years, and all the bond issues, the increase in taxes for bond issues, I think there was 1 year that not everything has passed. So perhaps instead of infuriating us,
Sure.
with fee increases, perhaps it should be put on a issue that we would vote on, because apparently, if we're given a chance to vote on things that help us,
That's right.
we tend to approve that.
Yeah. And that is a big conversation. I think that goes back to that gentleman in the back as well too, is there a way to either vote on those things? And again, those counselors have heard that, and we'll have that conversation farther. Yes, sir.
I have one question on this, but it has 6 parts.
Okay. You're welcome. I have eight answers.
My question is, looking at the fees that are going to be supposedly paid by seniors, how much money does the city expect revenue to be per year, and where is it going to go if it doesn't come back to here?
Sure. And I did not walk through that analysis altogether yet, because again, the cost of the adult center is X. And so when we look at the operational costs, and that's what goes back to what Marcus has said about delaying it just a little farther, because the council's going to have further conversations, and I've heard independent ideas out of those counselors as to what they think should be done. And so what we do is we want to look at the total cost of the service that's being provided, the building, the electricity, all those different things. And then we want to determine exactly how much should be covered by property taxes or sales tax. And then how much do we need to cover with those fees? Without knowing what that formula is, it's really hard to answer that question, because we could leave the fees where they're at currently. We can increase the fees to cover a little bit more or less. We can increase the fees where it's 100% coverage, and there's nobody talking about that. But I think that's where we walk through that analysis, and I know that my goal is to make sure that staff justify out everything that they do for the city council as well, because they're going to try to figure out what everybody wants to do. So
If you do increase the fees, I guarantee you're going to lose a lot of us. We're going to find other venues to go
Sure.
to that will not be charged.
yep.
And that, a lot of us are fixed income.
Right.
We're tired. And you wanted to get a job, we'll sell newspapers. But this is, trying to put fees on us is not right, it's wrong. There.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, this building, when it was first constructed, was the memorial to the veterans, Chavis County Memorial.
Okay.
And then they added youth center. And the things were free. I mean, the veterans got to
Sure.
come in and play their dominoes and cards and whatever, and it was free to them. And they've been doing this years now. And I think it's a shock to be charged to come in to a Veterans Memorial Center. I think that's to be charged for that.
Sure. And some of that I don't have the answers to. The use of this building has changed from its initial use. I think we do try to honor the past and try to figure out exactly where we go with it into the future. But you can look at the Yucca Center, you can look at the Cahoon Pool of facilities that have outlived what they were.
Yeah. My mother was Catherine Leopard, and she was director here.
Sure.
It started over at the center, by I can't talk.
That's okay.
And anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we need to go back to the Memorial Youth Center.
And that can be, and going back to the question there, is that how can we have this conversation as it goes? You know, and I can run through that. I think we're doing a disservice for everybody else that had questions up there, but I'm going to run very quickly through that. Again, the fees are going to be looked at. We are going to have that conversation at the next General Service Committee, and then in future conversations as well too. And I know that I've heard from 3 or 4 of the counselors individually that say, let's take another peek at this thing, let's see what we want to try to accomplish. So, yes, ma'am. I know.
Hi, I'm Maya Manchego. I teach Tai Chi for Health for the Department of Health. And I've taught here off and on for 20 years. And back in the day when there was a budget here for advertising, every time in the spring and fall is when I'm interested in talking about filling the classes.
Yep.
Our budget was taken away. And there's very few people that even really hear about the classes that are being offered. And everybody here probably that instructs can say their attendance in classes has gone down. Now, I don't know what happens to the money that comes in for the classes. You know, the instructors get they get very wealthy for teaching here.
I can tell that.
But last year, when I was starting to teach here again, I went on the City of Roswell website, and I know there's been a lot of things being shifted in terms of web activity. Number one, lots of people don't go to the web to find out senior activities.
Correct.
They look in the newspaper, listen to the radio. The website had all this great stuff about the new center because that was the focus. The classes for the adult center were over 6 months old. There has not been a current listing of adult center classes in at least 8 months that I've observed. So I'm interested in getting more people actually into the classes.
Yep.
Now, these things that, that's a conversation you've had, of course. The other thing is, I'm required to be insured. Most of the teachers here are seniors and aren't independently wealthy. I don't know, maybe some of you are keeping it a secret, but it's been since 2018, 13 months that you've known that this place was going to require insurance for teachers. Not everybody does it either. I work at the Recreational Community Center also.
Sure.
I'm not required to have insurance there. But it's a very short turnaround for people that are on a fixed income to have to pay out for insurance on such a short notice, maybe computer illiterate. Wasn't well thought out. I wish you could extend that another few months. Yes.
Well, let me ask the question of the instructors in here. Are you charging for your service in this building as well? You don't charge for any people to take your class? That's what I'm asking, because
$27 for 2 weeks.
yeah, I'm not, because we can debate fees all night, but I just wanted to check on that. But let me talk really quickly about the liability and everything else, because for almost 15 years I taught karate to little 6 and 8-year-olds, and I took the older adults, but most of them were the little kids. I taught in public buildings. I started in school systems and everything else. I was required to have liability insurance for my class. And I tried to explain this once before as well too. So in a karate class, kids kick each other, right? They kick and punch, and we're trying to teach them self-discipline within that. But they have a tendency to kick each other. How is that the city's responsibility if I allow as an instructor a kid to get hurt within the instructor? Because we're not checking instructor credentials or anything. And so I looked up the liability insurance, and again, I was paying about $350 a year for my insurance for about 70 kids. And I looked up some of those other things because the insurance is not that expensive. It's $120 for the year for a dance instructor, at least for some of those sites out there. It depends on what you need as far as what that liability is. But I know that we can have this conversation and walk through this. You know, if a light fixture fell in my classroom and fell on a kid, that's the city's problem. Because the environment wasn't right. That would be covered by the city's insurance. But we don't vet the instructors entirely. We don't check the credentials of every instructor out there as to how you're qualified to do Tai Chi or dance or anything else. We take you at your word as well too.
What about waivers?
And
Requiring instructors to have waivers signed.
And that's a potential option for that. I mean, if there's only so much things, the city gets thrown into every liability anyway. I mean, if any kind of claim, we're a big pocket, and so we get called into it. But waivers do work for some things. We can talk with our city attorney about that, but that's that may be an option. And I had I think a gentleman in the back, unless he's forgotten this question by now. Is there a question back there? And I think I had a couple gentlemen over here. So. Okay. Supposed to get 4 new pool tables. I think the 2 have been delivered, and then we still have the city to purchase 2. Lori, you got that jotted down? Okay. Any quick answer on that as to how soon they would be ordered?
Okay, I'm president of the Roswell Adult Center Foundation,
Yes, ma'am.
and we've been waiting for the city to get their act together because we're not going to buy up the tables that we're going to pay for until the city commits to at least half of them. To put them in the room, and now the pool players say, well, we'd rather have some other table. So, I mean, it's still up in the air as far as I'm concerned.
So we haven't had a full conversation on it.
Well, we've had lots of conversations on it, but Jim has worked on it, trying to find some money, but we haven't found the money yet to replace the 45-year-old table.
Have the 2? What are the 2 new ones over there? Then who purchased those?
This foundation,
Okay, so you purchased 2 of them, and there's how many tables?
we need 4.
And 4 more.
No.
Oh, 4 total. Okay.
Money was the city to match what the foundation.
All right. All right. And somebody told you that would be okay. The city would.
Jim Burris.
Okay. He's right there. Okay. I'll have to look through that and find out exactly what happened with it. We'll get you an answer. I'm going to take this gentleman here, and then I'll come up here, and then back there.
Did Marcus say $150?
Marcus, did you say $150?
Per month or year?
$150. Which fee is that?
Senior.
That's a year
Okay, next
For
question.
senior,
for seniors.
for seniors.
Show up 52 days a year, and you want $4,500? I call that flat, like price. Steal it.
Right, it's $150.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Judy Smith, and I represent a whole bunch of these ladies as part of Smith Valley Filters.
Yes.
We've been renting that room, how many years? Over 30 years. We pay $500 a year rent that we earn through our quilt show. We give hundreds of quilts to this community in every way, shape, or form, from kids to adults, whatever. We were informed recently that now we have to pay $4,500 a year. There's no way. I mean, there was no notice,
Sure.
no gradual working towards this. If Dan, you now owe $4,500. How can we do that? It's absurd.
And all I can say about that is that's going back to the conversation. So, yeah. And I will make sure that you're all aware of it because, again, I don't mind being the pincushion up here. I really don't. I mean, because I want to try to help. And then the better I understand where everybody is coming from, then I can help lead staff. I can help with the city council trying to figure out what to do. So don't take it wrong. But I know that I don't have any better answers for the fees or anything else at this point in time. So let me take him back here. His arm's tired too. So yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been sitting here listening. I didn't know what the meeting was exactly. Concerned community guy, what I am.
Certainly.
And I hear you saying that you've got to balance some things out. You have to weigh the cost and the benefit of it. I think one thing that needs to be addressed is, I'm 68, I'm starting to consider myself a senior. These people have already paid their dues. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They've contributed blood to this community for a long time. for you to come in and say, I don't know you personally, but for anybody to come in and make them feel like that they need to pony up something to get what they've already got is wrong. Because, in other words, you're saying you're analyzing what the costs are for this. I think you need to pony up some money for the people that have already paid their dues.
I appreciate that, thank you. And note that there's only one group that can make those type of decisions, and that's the city council.
All right, and I'll address that too. You said
Yep.
3 of them here. Keeping old people off, they got long memory. They've been peed on and told it to rain before, and they voted wrong.
Yep. I'm sorry? Could the city councilors stand up and introduce themselves? We have Angela Moore up here in the front. We have Judy Stubbs right here. We have Steve Henderson here. The mayor is in the back of the room as well too. And Councilor Ora Pace is right behind you.
Another question, a couple more questions like that, we talked about.
Louder, George.
Louder, George. Louder, George. Louder, George.
I'll repeat it.
Yes, you haven't mentioned anything about the airport. And that punch out there. We know what all that means. The other thing is I think it was very disrespectful of the councilman to get up and announce yourself their names to the people to start out.
All right, thank you. Let me cover what these public forums are for. These are not actually council-driven meetings. They've asked me to do those. This is actually really talking with staff about the services being provided. They do come and attend this, so don't blame the city councilors for that. It would be my responsibility. They are. Yes, sir. And that is correct. Correct. My job is to manage 620 employees. And so, and the reason the airport wasn't discussed is that it's not one of the enrichment services. It was covered during the operations and infrastructure public forum. So we try to break it up so that we're not talking about the same ones over and over. So
We're all seeing it all.
yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Just a note I noticed in your schedule of the costs, you had all kinds of different organizations or people, whatever. Anyhow, what about a 501c3 group? How are they going to be fitted in here?
Yeah. And you know, and a lot of the different types of formulas do have 501c3s recognized as well. I don't believe it's in this one. I don't think it was in the information, was it, for the 501c3s? And so, you know, what I found interesting is that we give a further discount, or I shouldn't call it a discount. The charge for a billiard player was $1 a day. I don't know why. But at some point in time, somebody determined that that's what the fee should be for a billiard player. And that's where the conversation that we've had with the communication with some of the domino players is that all they need is a table, 4 chairs, do dominoes, and it's $3 based upon what we put up there. Yeah, and then throw into it with what you guys have out there for the quilters and everything. So, I don't know why. All I know is that we can revisit that and get there and walk through that. We had somebody with their hand up in the back. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I just recently lived here, and I think that what I'm hearing is people saying they're tired of their same street and shaking for money all the time. And so what I think is that we should figure out a way to generate more income, and I think that a great way to do that, see that depending on private industry to provide rooms and places for oil workers to live, why don't we utilize some of the properties here that's vacant, like out on Gerald Harris? Why don't we take that and make it a place where people can park their RVs, charge that as a city, and then we can make money for the city and fund some of these things without charging the people more money who can't afford it.
Yeah.
And my name's Christine School. Anybody wants to talk to me about it, let's talk about it.
Yep, and I know Bill Morris is our community development director. He's also responsible for all the city property. That's something that he functions with very well. We had one more hand up there, and I need to get back to the board, so. Yes, ma'am.
I just have one comment that, I'm in the adult center 3
Certainly.
voted on a year ago.
Right.
So no one from the adult center that I know had the opportunity to go and talk with city commission,
Certainly.
including him.
And that's something you know, it's very hard to continually apologize for that because that's not the way we're supposed to do business. I mean, it's local government, and local is that key word within that. And we have to find that. You know, all I can tell you is that we're going to try to do better, and we're going to move through this issue a little bit farther. Yes, ma'am.
Could we talk waivers?
Not tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a meeting of instructors here and talk about the insurance and
Let me do this, because we have Marcus over there and we have Lori right over there as well too. I will commit them to setting up a time to meet with all of the groups, all the instructors together. And you can walk through that and you can have that conversation with both of them, because that's where it'll start. It'll start with the staff. It goes through mine as well, and then it goes to the city council from that conversation. If there's a compromise, if there's a way to get there, let's get there. But I'm going to commit both of them right now, and it should happen in how about the next week, sometime next week. I'll put the pressure on. All right. If you can pull it together, and all the instructors, all the people affected by this can come in, sit down around in a round table or something, walk through all of that. And I love the idea of some of the options or the alternatives. Let's put it that way. And so let's get there. All right? Okay. Yes, sir.
When you have one of these group meetings, why don't you have one of those microphones
That carry around? Yes, sir.
and talking to you? Because I'm sitting right next to this guy and I don't have any idea what he's doing.
We will do that for the future because, and again, I think we've, you know, until we tested out this thing 3 days ago, it wasn't working either. So I think it goes back to that care of the building as well too. And so, yes, sir, I hear you, and we'll do better for that. And so, yes, ma'am.
This is not about fees or anything, but I thought a couple years ago they passed where they were going to take the bike trail out to Bitter Lakes. And I never have heard anything else about it. Is that on the?
Yeah, I think the trail out to the Bitter Lakes, and I only know a little bit about that because it was a while ago that it was even discussed. I think the intent was to hopefully get legislative dollars to help to go out to the state park. And without the legislative dollars, again, we want to commit our dollars more locally and to everybody here. So, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I was told that there are federal dollars available to help support an adult center in the community that provides recreation. And since they put all the children here because the Youngster Center was closed down, maybe it could be turned back into an adult center and those dollars might be available.
And we're happy to go after any of those type of grant dollars. So if anybody knows where some of those grants are, please let us know. We know where some of them are, I think, and we'll just keep looking to try to find that. Because I think any of that assistance, because those are your dollars as well too. Those grant dollars are coming from your federal taxes. And so anytime we can put it back into the community, it's a good thing. Let me check the board for what else we have left. I think Bill had enough time to.
Why are parks and rec being split?
Why are parks and rec being split? When you go through the list of all the departments up there on that list and everything, what we do with our department heads is try to make sure that we have that professional assistance with enough of them. If we keep it lumped together, then I have to create another supervisory structure that kind of helps with all of that. And so the idea was, I'm a fan of a flat organizational chart. I want to be able to reach all 620 of my employees. And so if I have too many layers of supervisors in there, then I can't reach those boots on the ground individuals. And I want to get there because I want to make sure that I'm sharing the vision of what the city council wants to see happen and making sure that everybody understands it as we go. So the idea about breaking up parks and recreation, going back to even just the conversation of how we maintain our buildings. You know, we have not maintained our buildings to the level of what I believe everybody's expectation is. We're trying to raise our standards. We're trying to get that to the level that everybody here deserves that kind of a service. And so I think when we break it apart, we break it apart for the recreation side, and that's all of our programming, no matter the age of the individual. That is the programming for the quality of life, that enrichment stuff. You throw into it what Jim was talking about. Now we're talking about attractions in areas like the golf course, the zoo. You know, and I always like to talk about the cemetery because people are dying to get into that cemetery. No? Okay. Too late? All right. But it is. It's like these are all services that are driven more by that. And you know, the creative side of recreational programming, all that stuff, it takes a different set of skill sets. And then we have the other side that is all maintaining the properties and everything. So that was the reason why we divided it.
A couple some comments about the north door handicap entrance.
That the north door does not have handicap entrance. Is that correct? Oh, it is not open. Okay.
That's for the handicap parking.
Yep. And I'll tell you, that'll be another conversation with staff. One of the things that we're trying to do, and we're in this world today, is to secure the building better and to direct everybody through a front door because of all the crazy people that are out there. And we can find ways to help, because if the handicap parking is on the side of the building, then we need to make arrangements to help with that. But also understand, we are trying to bring people in one entrance so that we have the best ability to make sure that everybody's safe.
That's the way, so you can collect money. That's the only reason.
Thank you.
Some artists and students have to carry a lot of heavy stuff out of their cars, and they have to walk, and their classroom is down that way.
And there's a way to make that work. We just don't want to have the door, you know, propped open. I mean, that's the idea, that's the process. We try to control that entrance, and I know it's frustrating for some of that. Yes, ma'am?
But when the kids were here, that everything was open and they were running everywhere. You didn't know who was with those kids and who weren't. And we've been here for 30 years, peace and quiet, doing what we do, and you opened it up to all these kids, and I saw people I never saw before in and out of our room.
And I know before the kids left here, that's when we implemented that change, before they were still here. But again, that is the reason why. And, you know, I mean, you just have to look at the El Pasos, the Dayton, Ohio's, all of that stuff. It happens. And it happens more today than it ever did when we were all younger as well, too.
But when you can't walk, all those doors over here.
What I'm telling you, though, is that we can make accommodations to help. And we can make it work from there. It's just that we don't want that door to be unlocked or propped open. But we can help anybody that has to utilize that entrance to get in. We can set up arrangements in order to make sure that it happens. I don't know what it looks like right now, but that's just because I'm on the spot tonight. Yes, ma'am?
A suggestion for the door, on the north side, put a key fob out there, give the seniors a key fob they can use, and you can monitor.
It's a controlled entrance in with a key fob. So, yeah. What else we got?
Sidewalks
Sidewalks.
around the area.
Sidewalks around the area. Was that more specifically everywhere or just for the facilities here? Okay. One of the things with the sidewalks, just really quickly as well too, because we're almost hitting 8 o'clock now, I think, as well too. But we have not done sidewalks very well. And I you know, this goes back years and years and years. Even maintaining it's not done there. The law, state law, and the city codes say that the contiguous property owner is responsible for the sidewalk. And so the idea, and so we have to ask that property owner to fix their sidewalk or to install the sidewalk. We also have in the city code that if the property is occupied, that's when a sidewalk is required. So we have a lot of parcels. If you go up and down the Union, you see the open lots. That's why there's no sidewalks there. This is that the policy was that you did not have to put a sidewalk in there until there's an occupiable building. And then what happens is that some of these subdivisions don't get developed out very quickly. And so then we have these stops and starts. One of the things, and this is something that's near and dear to the city council's heart, trying to figure out how to get there, because we're trying to make the city more pedestrian friendly, trying to make it so that it's walkable. The city takes on full responsibility of the ADA curb cuts. So every place where there's a handicap ramp on those corners. The hard part is that we have some corners over there, we were able to get the funding for those curb cuts, but no sidewalk to go with it. So then we have the handicap still on the street, because that's where they can make headway. So I think that's the big thing. We are trying to find a solution to the sidewalks. Again, it's an expensive proposition. I think I heard for a 50-foot right-of-way, it's about $3,500 to put a sidewalk in. And a 50-foot right-of-way, which is some of our older parcels. It's the old way of doing it. So, Bill, do we have anything else left there that we can kind of hit?
These are more comments, but I think as far as questions,
Okay.
we're done.
All right. Let me end this with, and again, if you want to get around to the tables with all of our services, please do. I really appreciate the conversation. I'll take it any way I can get it. And these city councilors here heard you. And they will make their voices known as to what they think, where they think they can help, and what they can do. And again, though, the whole intent of even tonight, and it's really hard. You know, I can fill a room if I'm just going to say I'm going to raise taxes. You know, it fills the room very quickly. And but the idea is that if we can continue to have these conversations even after we get through these things that create a lot of emotion and a lot of things, then we can make our headway there. Because I want you happy. I don't want you disappointed. I want you to know that we're trying our best to do the best job we can. So I said I was sorry. Been here 2.5 years. We'll do better. I can tell you that right now. And we will take all these comments and all this conversation, and I will meet with all the staff. I did commit the staff over here to meet with the instructors. If you need anything, my business cards are over on the table as well too. Phone call, email. I'll take it any way I can get it as well too. I will get you to the right people that can help you. So, yes, sir.
Joe, I just want to thank you and the city staff and the city council and all the workers in the city for opening up these doors to the new nation. I think these meetings are fantastic. We have some issues we can deal with, but I want you to know that I appreciate it very much. I think this is good.
Thank you. Everybody be safe going home. And just let me know wherever you can help, all right? Thank you. Have a good night.